Hi there and welcome to my channel Pretty Little Button. My name is Verity and I hope to bring you a variety of different videos around card making and paper crafts. So today's video I'm showing you how to make a masked embossed resist card. Today we're using some stamps from Chunky Monkey Crafts. I created two but I'm showing you the blue one today. So this is a Sealed with a Kiss stamp set from Chunky Monkey Crafts. It's got some great sentiments in there which can be used on the back of your cards or envelopes, but today I used it on the front of the cards to create a fun masked background. So I die cut a heart from some copy paper to use as my mask, and to keep this in place I just used some repositionable tape on the back so I could adhere it down whilst I was doing all my stamping. So I positioned this in my Tonic Studios stamping platform and selected a few sentiments from the stamp set and positioned them over the heart and picked these up with the window, and I used some Brutus & Monroe clear embossing ink to stamp them. I covered this with embossing powder, and before heat setting I put it back in my stamp platform and positioned these stamps in other places just so that I could fill the heart up. I heat embossed it once all of the sentiments were stamped to try and reduce the amount of warping. Once I'd finished heat embossing, I placed the mask back over, which was quite easy to line up with the heat embossed sentiments, and I used peacock feathers and broken china to ink blend over the mask to bring out the heart background and the embossed sentiments. Started off at the bottom with peacock feathers, and I used a bit of post-it tape just to protect my fingers from picking up too much ink. So I used broken china at the top and I faded it down and blended the two colours between them. I felt like it needed something else, so I just used a bit of blueprint sketch just to add a bit of ink blending around the outside of the heart. You'll notice in a bit that when I peel this off I got a bit of my ink blending actually onto the card panel because I didn't actually mask off the whole of my card panel, and I run the risk of ink where I don't want it to. So I do go on to fix that in a bit. To smooth out the ink from the blueprint sketch, I went back in with the broken china and peacock feathers just to blend it all together. I removed the mask and just used a bit of a dry tissue paper just to wipe over and buff off any ink that's sitting on the white embossing. To fix the ink on the front, I used a Tombow Mono sand eraser. This allows you to rub away at ink on cardstock. This is quite a lot of ink, so I had to repeat using a sand eraser and then a normal rubber just to smooth out the surface. As you can see, after repeatedly doing this, I managed to get rid of all the ink. Next I just trimmed down my panel, so I had an 1/8 of an inch border around the whole piece for my A2 card. This is a side folding card, and I just added some fun foam on the back just to give it a bit of dimension and to also help straighten out my card as it did get a little bit warped from the embossing. Next I used a sentiment from the Alternate Thinking of You stamp set, Wishing You Were Here. Inked up my stamp with some clear embossing ink and tried to stamp this as straight as possible using my grid lines of the map below. This was then covered in again the white embossing powder from Wow, and I heat set this with my heat embossing gun. To remove the powder from my embossing buddy, I just used a rubber just to rub over the top of the embossing, and as you can see this has really cleared up and made it much more black again. I trimmed the sentiment down into a small strip and added a few foam squares and used my tea roller just to position this on my card nice and straight. Then I was going to apply some Tonic Nouveau drops, and I keep a sample of my Tonic Nouveau drops on some clear acetate. So I have my neutrals and silvers on one side, then I have my blues, my greens, my pinks, and this just allows me to position it and see whether the colour looks right for the card. So I was going for my blues, and I always test it off on a bit of scratch paper just in case you get a bit of a spurt and you don't want that on your card. I tend to like to position my drops in clusters of 3 or odd numbers as it's more appealing to the eye. You'll also notice that the final images, the cluster of drops near the bottom is a little bit different. I actually had a little accident when it came to stamping and smudged them, so I had to repair this and fix it. On the back of the card I used a stamp set from Chunky Monkey Crafts called Finishing Naki Sentiments. This has a wide variety to put on the back, for example, support small business, recycle me at your own risk, shop handmade. This card is lovingly handmade, appreciate it or suffer the consequences. Or if you receive this handmade card, the sender must think you're pretty special. So these are great for popping on the back of your cards. So here on these cards, I just popped the sentiment, shop handmade. Quick look at the finished cards. This is a blue card, which is really lovely and bold with the bright blue against the white. And then we have the pink card, which I did the different sentiment from the stamp set, Missing You, and I added some sequins instead of Nuva drops. Thank you for watching my video today on making this masked embossed resist card using the Chunky Monkey Crafts sealed with Kiss stamp set. If you enjoyed today's card and would love to see more videos from me, please hit the subscribe button below and press the notification bell so you'll receive a notification when I next upload a video. I'll appreciate all your support in my new journey of creating craft videos.